From bagging meager roles to make headlines playing Vecna on Stranger Things, Jamie Campbell's finally gotten his big break. And with his next project already in mind, the guy sure has no plans on stopping anytime soon. He's revealed he has his eyes on the DC Universe next. He's already the talk of the town back in Hawkins, but now he wants to join the ranks of the DCEU. It seems like he's well versed in all of James Gunn's upcoming projects. The filmmaker has just recently sent the media and news into an exciting buzz by announcing a huge slate of all the new movies he's gonna work on next. Gunn is still in the early stages of planning the opening chapters of the new DC Studios universe, and he's obviously going to need some spectacular villains to tie it all together. And who else is better for the job than Campbell himself? It's not like he's a stranger to the whole actual big bad persona himself, as he's very well proved from playing the Mind Flayer's general in Stranger Things. Safe to say, he had us all petrified as he shifted from the caring orderly to the terrifying, all-powerful Vecna going around killing people. So he won't have any problem jumping into another evil persona after he's done with Hawkins. Even though Campbell was unrecognizable as Vecna, wearing a prosthetic bodysuit of burnt and decayed skin, he impressed fans worldwide with his performance, and he clearly wants to keep up with the same genre. He even has a specific villain in mind, and it's none other than DC's Scarecrow. As per a report from CBR, while talking on Geek House Show at ComFest 2023 about the prospect, Bauer enthusiastically replied that he'd be totally up for it. There's been a lot of chatter about Scarecrow recently. That would be cool. To do that would be fun. Very spooky. That would be great. Now, I don't know if this is the universe aligning for me or pure luck, but since Gunn will definitely be on the lookout for some new villains to grace his movies, and Campbell's on the lookout for new prospects, this seems like the perfect opportunity to introduce him to a whole new fandom. Now, Scarecrow is a terrific villain who's pretty popular in the comics, but the character hasn't gotten a lot of spotlight in the movies, besides Christopher Nolan's well-known Dark Knight trilogy. I'm sure Jamie can fix that. Gunn has also revealed that the first Batman movie under the new plan will be The Brave and the Bold. The movie will feature a version of the Dark Knight working alongside Damian Wayne and the rest of the Bat family. But it won't be complete without a villain to anchor the entire project, one that will seriously terrify the audience. Their very presence should emit deathly, pure evil vibes, and Campbell's fallen in love with portraying that. In a recent interview, he mentioned that it was fun to soak up all that resentment and rage his character portrays, even though he makes sure all that nasty stuff's out before he messes up any of his relationships. It was interesting to see it from another vengeful perspective. But is Scarecrow capable of that? I'll let you decide that. According to the comic book, the Scarecrow was once a brilliant psychology professor before he turned into a criminal mastermind. Coming from an abusive background, he has no desire for power. His sole purpose is to terrorize people just for the sake of his experiments. Sadistic much? He's also an expert manipulator and strategist, and is practically a walking textbook on anxiety, disorders, and psychoactive drugs. That psychology degree won't be paying off well. If that isn't terrifying enough, he's also a toxicology genius. His very own invention, Fear Toxin, has the ability to amplify his victim's deepest fear into a petrifying hallucination. And it's not just limited to a person's thoughts. Its potency can induce instantaneous, terror-induced heart attacks, rendering the victim helpless in a permanent psychosis of chronic fear. It's powerful enough to even weaken Superman. I don't know about you, but I can already picture Jamie as the deranged, sadistic character in the movies. After seeing Vecna as a ruthless, destructive entity, it sure isn't difficult to imagine him as Scarecrow. But don't get too excited now. It still isn't confirmed that the classic Batman villain will appear in Gunn's new film. The filmmaker has kept most of his plans under wraps, so you can forget about the cast for a while. So far, only Damian Wayne, the son of Bruce Wayne, and Talia al Ghul have been confirmed on its roster so far, but all is not lost. If there's one thing for sure, Scarecrow has definitely been greenlit as a prominent villain in the DCU's new sub-universe Elseworlds. Let's hope we get to see the 33-year-old star play the part on the big screens. But do fans think this is a casting miracle? I mean, was there ever any doubt? The whole idea first spread across the internet when the host of the GOAT Movies podcast suggested it in a viral tweet. Is it just the hallucination gas, or is it a perfect fit? And before you call me biased, it's not just me. Many users were quick to agree with him. You have to admit, it's a solid pick. But there were also people who seemed to disagree, saying it was the perfect example of fan casting culture, which is basically just taking an actor who's recently made headlines and just thrusting them into the next big thing, or a movie which is predicted to generate a lot of hype. Okay, I know how it looks, but Jamie's talent for portraying creepy characters is undeniable, no matter how much of a golden retriever he may be in real life. But he isn't the only one who's favored for the role. Steven Yeun and Rami Malek are also fan favorites. Moving on, this isn't the only casting which has caught Jamie's attention. He's also hoping to play a villain in the James Bond and the 007 franchise. Seems like he's really found his forte, playing sickening, destructive villains. Should we be alarmed? While talking to Josh Horowitz on the Happy, Sad, Confused podcast, he was asked why he hadn't made an appearance as an Imperial officer for Star Wars yet, to which Bauer replied that he has his sights set on 007. The 33-year-old star revealed he had been eyeing the franchise for a long time, but he wasn't up for playing Bond, but a character acting against him. He also recalled that he wanted to be the first person under 30 to nail the role, but then Rami came along and destroyed his plans. Although he was disappointed, he acknowledged that the Bohemian Rhapsody actor did a brilliant job. But there's still plenty of space for Jamie, since the James Bond and the 007 franchise is full of iconic villains who have reveled in spreading terror for decades. Characters like Auric Goldfinger, Ernst Stavro Blofeld, and Le Chiffre are just a few of those names, and they've gone down in cinema history as some of the best to grace the silver screen. And now, the reboot is searching for more, and our very own Stranger Things star has thrown his hat into the ring as a possible anti-hero. He's already proved that he could play an unnerving villain in any scene he's placed in, and if he turns up as one in the next set of 007 films, he could end up being the perfect casting. One thing's for sure, he'd surely bring something original to the long-running franchise, and that's exactly what's needed for the reboot of such an extended, beloved series of films. That's all about Jamie's plans to become a new DCU villain.